Welcome to Terminator Resurrection. My name is Wayne Harris, and these videos chronicle my efforts to restore the Terminator. Now, if you joined us in the last episode, you may recall that I discovered an EPX2 signal processor when searching for a replacement head unit. And I was very excited to bring that unit back to the lab because I had two questions I wanted to answer. Number one, will it work? And number two, is it worthy? In other words, does it have the features, the performance, and the capabilities that I need for such an important role in the Terminator sound system? And that's what we're going to determine today. But first, I want to do a brief recap of what the EPX2 is.
The EPX2 is a high-performance signal processor that I designed in the mid-90s when I was director of R&D at Rockford Fosgate. The unit combines a preamplifier and crossover on the main board and can be expanded with daughter cards, including a 14-band equalizer, a 28-band EQ, and a revolutionary DSP processor. Everything is controlled from an RDAT, which stands for Remote Data Access Terminal.
One of the really cool things about the EPX2 is that it was expandable. And the expansion took place by the use of these daughter cards, or D cards for short. So we actually made three of these. This one is the DSP processor. We also had a 14-band EQ and a 28-band EQ. And the way that you would install these in the system is you would align these pin strip headers with the little receptacles. And push down. So you could add, for instance, just a single card, like in this case, the DSP, or a maximum of 2 expansion cards. And so now I'm going to add that 28 band, 1/3 octave equalizer. And what we've actually created here is a high density sandwich of circuit boards. And then, of course, the housing would fit on top of that. And for those systems that included the DSP processor, there was a small fan that was included. All right, we've reached the moment of truth. We're going to determine, number one, does the unit still function? So I've taken off the housing. I wanted to do a visual inspection to make sure there wasn't any capacitor leakage. I've got my power supply set up and it's current limited so that if there's a short circuit, it doesn't burn up the unit. So here we go. And just like that, it didn't burn up. And let's see if we have any signal. And we do. I have an audio signal here that's going all the way through the unit. Let's see if the volume works, and it does. This is really amazing. I've been toting this unit around for more than 3 decades, so it's more than 30 years old. And I wasn't sure it was going to work, but I'm not surprised because after all, I designed it.
Once I established basic functionality, I ran the system through a battery of tests. I tested all of the crossover outputs. Next, I tested the equalizer to verify that it was working properly. Once I validated hardware operation, I started playing around with the RDAT.
The EPX2 is controlled by the Remote Data Access Terminal, which is a small remote control, and it's super easy to use. You will have these function buttons across the top, and then the functionality of each button is shown up in the LCD display. So very easy to operate. For instance, if I want to adjust the crossover, and then I can select the low side or the high side, and it'll do its thing. There are a ton of really good signal processors on the market today. But even so, this unit here still holds its own. 30 years ago, this product was made for competition. It produces almost 7 volts RMS. And another thing that's cool about it, has balanced input. So to minimize noise, you could use a balanced line transmitter. As you know, I'm trying to keep the Terminator as authentic as possible. This was not in the Terminator originally, but it is sort of from the same time frame, and it would solve a lot of problems for me. I'm currently experiencing problems with the Hafler crossovers that are in the system. If I had this in there, I think it would do a good job. All right, we've determined that number one, the unit still functions, and number two, it has way more capabilities than I actually need. So I think it's an ideal candidate for installation in the Terminator. But what are your thoughts? Leave me a message in the comment section, and then we'll make our plans for the next episode. Until then, thanks for joining me. Keep it loud and make me proud.